Hello, this segment is called Makerspaces Addressing Diversity. My name is Randy Berner, and in these two videos, they're in two parts, we're going to talk about the best practices for addressing diversity in a makerspace. First of all, we'd like to ask, are makerspaces welcoming to all? And the common conception is that makerspaces are mostly geared to white males. So there is some data, and it has to do with makerspaces for adults for the most part, but of course many teenagers and some children attend these makerspaces. This study was done at the Indiana University and the Maker Education Initiative. And their average is on the teal arrow, and the yellow arrow has the national kind of census average. So if you compare those two, you can see that whites actually are not overrepresented. In fact, they're underrepresented. They're all the way to the right. And they found that about 42% of the participants of makerspaces were white, as opposed to 63% of the population. Meanwhile, back to the left, Asians accounted for 14%, while nationwide, the population is about 5% of the population. Black African American was 20%, as opposed to 12.6%, and Hispanic and Latino and American Indian and Alaska Native were about the same as they are according to the census data. So, in fact, you might say that minorities are overrepresented, especially by Asians in these categories. Alternatively, women are not. And that's probably another conception, but this one is quite true. So we have a couple slides to talk about this. The first one is from admissions at MIT. And what we have here are the type of portfolios that potential admittance to MIT submit. And the first one with the red, or the second line with the red arrow, has to do with maker portfolios. They often submit these. And 85.9% of males to MIT submitted one of these, and only 14% of females. So quite a disparity there. The second bit of data we have is, this is makerspaces in general, and another study found that over 81% of the participants of makerspaces are male. So a huge disparity there. So the question is, how do we make makerspaces welcoming to all? And so the best practices that we found from several different sources, but some of the best turned out to be from Sharona Ginsberg, who is a librarian of learning technologies at the State University of New York at Oswego. She's the founder and coordinator of MakerBridge, a web community of makerbrarians. So her first rule is assume you don't need diversity. Instead, eliminate the barriers. So the idea here is if you try too hard to make yourself a diverse makerspace, you might run into trouble. So instead, eliminate the barriers. And we're going to look at these 6 different areas: gender, accessibility, neurodiversity, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status, and also community status. So we'll do that in part 2.